Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video tonight there is lots to negotiate about. I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keeping up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United like I do on a regular basis. So I am going to be giving you some additional information on Darren Fletcher because there is huge developments on Darren Fletcher. Also going to be talking with you a bit more about Harry Kane, like I have been doing on a regular basis. And also going to be talking with you a bit more about Jadon Sancho. And also I'm going to go through with you, what midfield, do you think Manchester United, will sign when the transfer market does reopen? Because, there's a lot of midfielders on our agenda. So yeah, so there is lots to get into. So let's start with Darren Fletcher. So it has confirmed that Darren Fletcher has returned to Manchester United in an ambassadorial role. Obviously, so he's going to be, alongside his old teammates, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick. Of course, Darren Fletcher, did endure around 20 years with Manchester United, as a player. So he was at the club 2 decades. I think he was in our senior squad for around 12 years. And I think Darren Fletcher, made around 343 appearances for the club in all competitions. Of course, when he left Manchester United, I think he left the club in 2015. He went to West Brom, enjoyed a couple of years there. And then after, West Brom, he enjoyed a couple of years with Stoke. So it has confirmed that he has returned to Man United in an ambassadorial role. So that has been confirmed. So that's the latest news on that. So now let's delve into news on Jadon Sancho and Harry Kane. So according to recent reports, we are emerged as the favourites, to sign Sancho and Harry Kane when the transfer window does reopen. Now, I am very, very sceptical that Manchester United will sign both players, because if we was to sign Sancho and Harry Kane, that would cost us around £320 million. Because obviously, Sancho is going to cost us around £120 million. And don't forget, Tottenham want around £200 million for Harry Kane. I obviously give you the news, on Jadon Sancho today on my first video that I did this morning. And it does mention, that we've agreed almost every detail for the transfer of Jadon Sancho. So it says the length of Jadon Sancho's contract, his salary, his bonuses and his buyout clause has all been confirmed. The only thing that hasn't been agreed is the fee. So Manchester United need to come to an agreement on a fee with Borussia Dortmund. Like I mentioned, Jadon Sancho is going to cost us at least £100 million. But obviously, Jadon Sancho has already revealed his preference, and his preference is a move to Manchester United. Of course, like I mentioned, Chelsea have been in for him, and don't forget Jadon Sancho recently revealed, that he is a lifelong Chelsea fan. Don't forget, Jadon Sancho began his career in London with Watford, because he was at Watford for several years. And I did say, reflecting on this and that, there's still possibility, chance, that he could go to Chelsea. Also, to Liverpool were in for him. I don't think Liverpool are in for Jadon Sancho now. And Real Madrid have recently, dropped their interest in the player. Yes, they haven't that. Obviously, it did say quite a few days ago, though, regarding Jadon Sancho, it did say, that Dortmund were willing to offer him a new contract worth around £165,000 a week, to make him Borussia Dortmund's second highest paid player behind Marco Reus, because Marco Reus is Borussia Dortmund's highest paid player at the moment. So if he was to turn down and move to the Premier League, Dortmund, were willing to offer him a new contract and all of that. But Jadon Sancho's already made the admission he does want to leave Borussia Dortmund. Don't forget, it got revealed last year that Dortmund wanted Mason Greenwood as part of a swap deal of selling Jadon Sancho, but we've got no intentions of letting Mason Greenwood go. Maybe I think we will sign Jadon Sancho, to be quite honest with you. I think we will sign him. Obviously, it said the other week if we fail to qualify for the Champions League, then maybe, we won't get Jadon Sancho. And he said he could reject to move to Old Trafford, because don't forget we was relentlessly, linked with Jadon Sancho last year. But he is our number one priority target. But like I said, if we pay 100 or £120 million, it's going to make him a record signing in the Premier League. And it's also going to make him the most expensive player in British history. And it's going to make him our most expensive signing, because our most expensive signing at the moment is Paul Pogba, who we paid £89 million for. And we have been working on Jadon Sancho's contracts for a couple of months now at least. We've also been in contact with his agent for around a couple of months. Fabrizio Romano, I think, broke out that news around 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I think everything has been agreed except the fee. So we need to come to an agreement on a fee with Borussia Dortmund. But Borussia Dortmund do remain ruthless over their valuation. They have confirmed, that they want at least 100 million. And they're not willing to drop their valuation, despite, with this coronavirus and stuff like that. They do remain ruthless over their valuation. But Borussia Dortmund have come to accept the fact that he does want to leave. So Borussia Dortmund have got quite a few players on their agenda who could replace Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho's into his 3rd season at Borussia Dortmund. He's been a revelation since his arrival in Germany. There again, he was dropped in quite a lot of games earlier on in the season, was Jadon Sancho. He's still got a contract with Dortmund until 2022. Borussia Dortmund only paid around £7 or £8 million in from Manchester City. And there's a couple of beneficial things, about Sancho coming to Man United. He's got a really, really good friendship with Marcus Rashford. And obviously, Rashford recently revealed, that he wants Jadon Sancho at Manchester United next season. And also, too, he's well proven in the Premier League because he enjoyed a couple of years with Man City, like I mentioned, but he left Manchester City because he didn't get assured any first-team opportunities at Manchester City. Dortmund will make a huge profit on the player, like I've said before, because Dortmund only paid around £7 or £8 million for the player, and Jadon Sancho is predominantly a right winner. But yeah, I think, Manchester United can sign him when the transfer window does reopen, because I think he'll go well in our attacking line alongside Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. And I think it will be one of the club's best attacking trios, because the best attacking trio I've known Man United have was when we had Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez back in 2007, 2008 and 2009 and that. But yeah, Jadon Sancho to Man United now is looking very, very imminent. It was also stemming from Sky Sports today, saying that, Man United are closing in on a deal for the player, and Jamie Redknapp's give his verdict on it. He believes that, he'll be a brilliant signing for Manchester United, and he will handle himself very, very well at the football club. So that's Jamie Redknapp's verdict on that. But he does want to come to the football club, does Jadon Sancho. And yeah. So now let's delve into the news on Harry Kane. So I have been talking with you guys about Harry Kane on a regular basis, haven't I? Now, I've just been reading the Daily Mail, and the Daily Mail isn't really a reliable source, but they've reportedly said, that we're unwilling to spend up to £200 million for Harry Kane. Now, I did say, didn't I, before that, I'm very, very sceptical, that Manchester United will spend up to £200 million on Harry Kane. Now, I know we are known for overpaying for players, like I mentioned, we paid £89 million for Pogba, we paid £75 million for Lukaku, back in 2017. We paid £50 million for Fred, we paid £40 million for Matic, we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. So we are known for overpaying for players, and we've been criticised, with the for those, overpaying for players in recent years and stuff like that. But £200 million is far too much for Harry Kane. By the way, it has confirmed, I've just recently, read it in The Guardian, and it actually, says we are redrawing our transfer strategy due to the financial uncertainty, because of the coronavirus and that. So maybe, we won't be able to bring Harry Kane or Jadon Sancho in. But I think there's definitely more chance for us getting Jadon Sancho than there is of Harry Kane. Now, of course, it's recently, confirmed that we have been given a boost in our pursuit of, Harry Kane, because it confirmed from the Daily, the Mail on Sunday, which was yesterday. They actually, said now that Real Madrid are no longer in for Harry Kane, because, Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked to him. Don't forget, Real Madrid have done business with Tottenham before. Obviously, they got Gareth Bale from them back in 2013. Madrid paid around £85 million. Also, too, Madrid got Luka Modric off them for around £30 million. But, Real Madrid are looking, to do more transfer business, when the transfer market does reopen. But they're no longer in now for Harry Kane. I think, Madrid have got the likes of Mbappe and, Sadio Mane on their agenda. But I think Harry Kane has revealed anyway, if he was to leave Tottenham, his preference, would be a move to Manchester United. Now, of course, last month, Harry Kane, of course, had made an admission. And obviously, it fueled a lot of speculation because Harry Kane came out and said that, he could leave Tottenham if he feels as though they're not matching his ambition. And he also said, he will not stay at Tottenham for the sake of it. But I think it was last week he reiterated what he said last month, because he said last week, he could decide to leave Tottenham because he is unhappy at Tottenham. And Harry Kane has revealed his ambition, and his ambition is to get some silverware on the board, because he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, during his Tottenham career. And Harry Kane has been at Tottenham for several years. He's been in their senior squad since 2011. And Harry Kane is Tottenham's third highest goal scorer in their history. Harry Kane, of course, has got 181 goals in all competitions for Tottenham. But, we've been relentlessly linked with Harry Kane. I think we've been in for Harry Kane for at least the last 5 years. I think we first expressed our interest in Harry Kane back under the Louis van Gaal era and stuff like that. And yeah. But, Daniel Levy, who's the Tottenham chairman, like I've mentioned here numerous times before, he's a very, very hard negotiator when it comes to recruiting any players from Tottenham, but he is a very, very good businessman. He did say the other week, that Ed Woodward was set to have negotiations with Daniel Levy, over Harry Kane possibly, coming to Manchester United when the transfer window does reopen. But I don't know if Ed Woodward's had any negotiations yet, with Daniel Levy and stuff like that. But yeah, Tottenham, have agreed that they will let Harry Kane go when the transfer window reopens, providing that their £200 million asking price is met. So Tottenham want a world record fee of £200 million, and if Man United were willing to pay this £200 million, which I don't think we will, but if we did, it'd make him the joint most expensive player in the world. Because the most expensive player in the world at the moment is Neymar, who PSG paid around £200 million for from Barcelona, was it back in 2017 or 2018? But, Tottenham, basically, the main explanation why they want £200 million for Harry Kane is because they're looking to ease their financial worries. Because like I said to you, due to this coronavirus pandemic, a lot of teams are under financial pressure across the world and stuff like that. And like I said, top flight clubs are set to lose billions in revenues, like I mentioned. And Tottenham are still paying for their £1 billion stadium. They still owe like 630 odd million on the stadium loan. I think they owe around £83 million in transfer fees and, and stuff like that. Obviously, I've got an element of concern about Harry Kane. He is injury prone. He has been out with a hamstring injury since New Year's Day as Harry Kane. But he's sustained quite a few injuries, during his Tottenham career as Harry Kane. And obviously, he's still under contract with Tottenham until 2024, because back in the summer of 2018, he signed a 6-year contract with Tottenham, did Harry Kane. But he is 26 years of age, he's in his prime, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And don't get me wrong, I think he'd be a great addition to our squad, Harry Kane, if he was to come in. And, don't forget, he knows Rashford very, very well, but, because Rashford's British and stuff like that. But, he's just too expensive, is Harry Kane. There's been other strikers on our agenda who are much cheaper solutions than Harry Kane. You've got Timo Werner, that's available for around 50 odd million, so he'd cost us like 4 times less than Kane. Haaland would be a cheaper solution. Aubameyang, would be a much cheaper solution than Harry Kane. But, James Cooper recently come out, and he's a Sky Sports reporter, and he actually, revealed that, Manchester United are not interested in signing Harry Kane. And maybe we could get him in the foreseeable future. Maybe in the long term, that's what it means. But I don't think, we'll get him when the transfer market does reopen. Maybe, Kane will remain loyal, to Tottenham for at least next year. And if they don't match his ambition, that's when he will leave Tottenham. So let's just put that into the equation. But, Tottenham can't win anything in terms of silverware this season. They can't win the FA Cup. They can't win the Champions League. So yeah, but Tottenham have lost quite a few of their imperative players. Don't forget back in the January transfer window, they lost Harry Kane, not Harry Kane, Christian Eriksen, sorry. After he endured 7 years with Tottenham, he went to Inter Milan. They also lost Danny Rose. He went out on loan to Newcastle and stuff like that. But Tottenham have had quite a few injuries throughout the course of this season. I think one of their best players this season has been Heung-min Son. We've done business with Tottenham before because don't forget we got Dimitar Berbatov off them. We also got Michael Carrick off them, who endured 12 years at Manchester United. But we're seeing Harry Kane as an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku because last summer Lukaku left the football club and we didn't get an adequate replacement for him. Same with Herrera, he left last summer and we didn't get an adequate replacement for him. But like I mentioned, there has been a few strikers on our agenda. So yeah, so that's the latest news on Jadon Sancho and Harry Kane. So it's very unlikely, that we'll pay 200 million. Maybe we'd be willing to pay 100 million for Kane, or maybe 150 million pounds, but no more than that. I think our transfer budget's being revealed. I think we are going to get around 250 million pounds to spend when the transfer market, does reopen. But like I mentioned, it is good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is making plans, for when the transfer market does reopen. He's already identified, the areas where he does want to strengthen up. He wants to recommend the centre forward in. He also wants to recommend a right winger in. And he also wants to recommend a midfielder in. There's still reports emerging out saying, that we could get a centre half in, but I'm very, very sceptical that Man United will sign a centre half when the transfer window does reopen and that. Solskjaer, is looking to make around 4 signings, when the transfer market does reopen, because he believes we need around 4 signings, to become title contenders next season. But maybe, if we sign Sancho, then maybe, we won't be able to recruit any more players in. But there again, we're planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players, when the transfer market does reopen. So we'll generate funds there, and reflecting on that, that will increase our transfer budget. And stuff like that. But I've got to say, I think we have improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer. What I mean is I think, we've been a bit more sensible with our recruitment. Obviously, we have been more sensible with our recruitment and stuff like that, which is, very, very good to see. He did say the other week, Solskjaer, when the transfer market does reopen, we will exploit the transfer market. But like I've said to you before, our recruitment policy has been poor for several years. Solskjaer's been at Manchester United now for 16 months. So he's been here now overall nearly a year and a half. He's been permanent Manchester United manager, for around 12 months. So he has been permanent manager for exactly a year. But he has endured 3 transfer winners at the club, and he's recruited 5 players in and spent around £220 million. Last summer he brought Daniel James in, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire. And in January, he brought Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. And I've got to give him credit, for the players that he has recruited into the football club so far. But it is a transition period. And it's been a transition period for a while. And Solskjaer revealed at the beginning of the year he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period. But I can almost assure that Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season. But, he knows if he's given another season at the club, he'll have many, many expectations to exceed, because we get the right calibre players in the summer, then next season, our expectations will be to challenge for the title. Possibly not win the title, but at least challenge for the title. I think within the next 2 to 3 years, we need to win the league, because we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. The last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. So it is 7 years ago now, to be quite honest with you. But like I've said to you anyway, we have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years. Obviously, we haven't dominated, football, since the Alex Ferguson era, because Alex Ferguson endured 26, 27 years at Manchester United, and he endured 20-odd years of success. Obviously, when we recommended him in from Aberdeen in 1986, obviously, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, and obviously, there was a lot of talks about Ferguson leaving, our board and that were negotiating about it, and I think, Ferguson was 1 game away from getting the sack, but he didn't, and, look what he went and accomplished after that 4 years of not winning out. The vast majority of our silverware, we won, came under the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, the club's best achievements, well, one of the greatest achievements, was 1999, which was just over 20 years ago now, when we did win the treble. And that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a player. But yes, since Ferguson left, we have been playing catch-up because, like I've mentioned, we've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, we've nearly spent in the £1 billion range in the last 6 or 7 years on, recruiting players in. And like I've mentioned, before, we have recruited over 30 odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we only recruited 2 players in under Moyes. Obviously, Moyes brought Marion Fellaini in and he brought Juan Mata in. Obviously, Fellaini's no longer here now. He went to China back in January 2019. He endured 6 years at Man United, but, he was the first player to leave under the Solskjaer era. But Moyes brought Fellaini, he brought Juan Mata in, and Juan Mata still is at the football club now. Juan Mata's into his 6th season at Manchester United. So he brought 2 players in and spent around £60 million. Then obviously, Van Gaal recruited a lot of players in. Obviously, Van Gaal brought the likes of Di Maria in. He brought Morgan Schneiderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Falcao, Daley Blind. He brought Martial and Shaw, who are still here now. He brought, obviously, Rojo. He also brought Darmian in. Who else did he bring in? Van Gaal. Van Gaal recruited a hell of a lot of players in at Manchester United. He brought Memphis Depay in. He's another player that I brought in. But a lot of the players have gone now since the Louis van Gaal era. But Louis van Gaal did get rid of a lot of the players that we had under Alex Ferguson. Because under Moyes, we still had the vast majority of Alex Ferguson's players because, like I just mentioned, Moyes only managed to recruit around 2 players into the football club. But so Van Gaal did get rid of a lot of Alex Ferguson's players. We did win the FA Cup, by the way, under the Louis van Gaal era. Obviously, Jose Mourinho recruited 11 players in, so the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, and taking into account Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. Obviously, Mourinho brought Fred in, who's really, really improved under Solskjaer. He was, never really got the opportunities under Mourinho. He brought Matic in for £40 million. He obviously, brought Bailly and Lindelof in as well. We paid £30 million for Bailly and £30 million for Lindelof. He also brought Alexis Sanchez in. He also brought Zlatan Ibrahimovic in. He also brought Mkhitaryan in. He also brought Diego Dalot in. He also brought Lee Grant in. So these are, the players, that Jose Mourinho brought into the football club and that. And he also brought Lukaku in, don't forget. But, But Jose Mourinho, of course, endured 2.5 years at Manchester United. And of course, he did win 2 trophies in his first season at the football club. He won the Europa League and the League Cup. But I've given you the main explanations why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with the top players. He had bad disputes with like Anthony Martial, Luke Shaw, Paul Pogba. I don't think any of them players would have been here now if Jose Mourinho would have still been at the football club. But like I've said before, Jose Mourinho has passed his sell-by date and that. And and like I said, Solskjaer's recruited 5 players in. So we've recruited over 30 odd players in the last 6 or 7 years, and we've also, got the highest wage bill. I don't think, Solskjaer, will replicate Ferguson's legacy, but we've just got to give him more time. I think he does deserve at least a couple of more transfer windows. Don't forget, Solskjaer still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young players to Manchester United, like he did do last summer and that. But he does deserve more time at Manchester United without a shadow of a doubt. Like I've said, there has been a lot of midfielders on our agenda. Which midfielder, should Manchester United sign when the transfer market does reopen? Now, I just want to give you some news on Jack Grealish. Reportedly, now Newcastle are interested in Jack Grealish. So looking to hijack our move for Jack Grealish. I think it's recently, been confirmed that Newcastle have the richest owners, I think, in the Premier League. That's recently, been confirmed. Now, it did recently say anyway that we're no longer in for Jack Grealish because Ed Woodward's preference is to get a holding midfielder instead of Jack Grealish. Now, it has been revealed how much Jack Grealish will cost. He will cost us around £70 million, maybe £80 million. Don't forget last month, reflects on the incident, what happened with his £80,000 Range Rover. He did say his move to Manchester United was in doubt and stuff like that. But maybe, we won't go in for Jack Grealish when the transfer window does reopen. We did say, our preference is Jack Grealish over James Maddison. There's few explanations for that, because Jack Grealish is more versatile. Jack Grealish was in better form than Maddison, before the football season got suspended. And this is why he's a cheaper solution. He's a cheaper solution than James Maddison. Jack Grealish has spent the vast majority of his career with Aston Villa. Obviously, he's been a Villa player since the age of 6. And he's been in their senior squad since 2014. But since then, he has become an integral part of Aston Villa's team. He was key for Villa progressing to the Carabao Cup final this season, and he was also key for them, getting promotion to the Premier League. Grealish has still got 3 years remaining on his contract with Aston Villa. Yes, he hasn't that. But we have been relentlessly, linked with the player. Grealish, has been linked with a few clubs, Man United. Tottenham have also been in for him. Back in the summer of 2018, Tottenham came very, very close to getting him. Also, too, Manchester City have expressed their interest in Jack Grealish. But a few clubs have expressed their interest in the player. So he's been one midfielder on our agenda. Obviously, another midfielder that's been on our agenda, and that's Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, I'm very sceptical that Man United will sign Saul Niguez, even though it did recently say if Atletico Madrid fail to qualify for the Champions League, then Atletico Madrid could be forced to sell him. It did say we're willing to pay up to £70 million for Saul Niguez. That's around half than what Atletico Madrid want, because Atletico Madrid said they wanted around 130 odd million, because that's his actual release clause in his contract with Atletico Madrid. Don't forget, back in 2017, Saul Niguez had signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. Now, as it stands now, he's got 6 years remaining on his contract, because he's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026. It did say we was also willing to offer him, nearly 200 grand a week. So we was willing to increase his wages by around 85,000, because he's on around 115,000 on his current contract at Atletico Madrid at the moment. But it did say that we'd secretly scouted him in Atletico Madrid's 3-2 win against Liverpool in the last 16 of the Champions League. But Saul Niguez has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. He's nearly made 300 appearances for them in all competitions, but I think Saul Niguez now is into his 12th season with Atletico Madrid. He can play as a central or a holding midfielder. When he was younger, he was predominantly a centre-half, and he's only the age of 25. But we're basically seeing Saul Niguez as an adequate replacement for Pogba. Another midfielder that's been in our agenda is Maddison, but I'm going to fully disregard Manchester United getting James Maddison, because like I recently updated you, Maddison, has confirmed that he's happy with Leicester, and he said his long-term future is with Leicester. But he's still been another midfielder on our agenda. Another midfielder that's been on our agenda, and that's James Rodriguez from Real Madrid. I think it's very, very sceptical. I'm very, very sceptical that Man United, will sign James Rodriguez from Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid are looking to offload James Rodriguez. Obviously, James Rodriguez, I think, has enjoyed around, 4 or 5 years with Real Madrid. Don't forget, he did enjoy a 2-year loan spell with Bayern Munich. It did say recently, that George Mendes had contacted Man United, over possibly, us launching a bidding for James Rodriguez. I think he would be available for around £30 million. Madrid did pay around £63 million in for Monaco back in 2014, and I think he's got exactly a year left on his contract, because his contract expires in the summer of 2021. James Rodriguez can play as an attacking mid, and he can also play as a winner. But I'm very sceptical, that Manchester United will sign him. Obviously, Kai Havertz, he's been another midfielder on our agenda. I give you the news regarding Kai Havertz, didn't I, this morning, because it actually says that the Bayer Leverkusen sporting director, you know, he's come out and said that Kai Havertz could leave Leverkusen in the summer. You know, Kai Havertz did recently say that he's looking to move abroad and he's keen on leaving Leverkusen, but he's remained loyal to Leverkusen for several years. Obviously, you know, he's, up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Leverkusen. I think Kai Havertz endured around 6 or 7 years in their youth academy, and he's been in their senior squad since like 2016, is it? And he has become an integral part of their team. Don't forget, Kai Havertz became the youngest player ever in the German top flight to make 50 and 100 Bundesliga appearances. I think in the Bundesliga he's got like 110 appearances to his name and scored around 30 goals. And he's got a contract with Leverkusen until 2022. I think he would cost in the £100 million range, you know, to convince Bayer Leverkusen to offload him. And he is only at the age of 20. He can play as an attacking midfielder and he can also play as a winger. Liverpool have also been in for him, so too have Bayern Munich. So yeah, you know, he's another midfielder on our agenda. There's been a few older midfielders on our agenda in the past, you know, don't forget, you know, we've been in for Declan Rice in the past. We've inquired, you know, about getting Thomas Partey. You know, so which midfielder, you know, do you think Manchester United should sign when the transfer window does reopen? I'm going to put this on, you know, my title of my video as well, because I want to know, you know, what you think. And like I said, you know, we are planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players, you know, when the transfer market does reopen. I've already gone through with you, you know, the players that I think are going to leave Man United. I think, you know, we're going to get rid of Rojo permanently, because Rojo's like our sixth choice centre-half. We're going to get rid of Phil Jones, because Phil Jones can't even get into the team now. I think, you know, we're going to get rid of Jesse Lingard and Andrews Pereira, you know, because they are 2 liabilities. I think, you know, we need to try and get rid of Alexis Sanchez on a permanent transfer. Smalling, I'm very sceptical he'll come back in. I think we'll look to get rid of him on a permanent transfer as well. So we'll get rid of around 5 or 6 players when the transfer market does reopen and stuff like that. But like I said, you know, Solskjaer's under pressure, you know, to keep this good run of form up, because before the football season that got suspended, we was in a good run of form. Because don't forget, we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. Like I said, I think, you know, Solskjaer has promoted the youth very, very well, because the young players have been given their opportunities this season. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood. His approach to the big games this season have also, you know, been very, very good. So that is a positive, you know, you can take and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, you know, that's everything to update you today. You know, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.